Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is Johnboy, and it is Johnboy time. I am the COVID kid. I am COVID barely 18. Your host, John Fahey, that's me. Joining me, as ever, the pinnacle of perversion. Doctors hate this geyser. Aaron Joseph Pita.
I'm guilty as charged. You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me collect, because I'm not accepting the charges.
1-800-COLLECT.
10-10-220. Before every call.
Wow.
John, you're my favorite overfed, long-haired leaping gnome.
What is that from again?
Spill the wine.
Ah, yes.
Speaking of favorite.
Yeah. Speaking of hot fucking guys.
Geyser.
Yeah,
Guys.
Matt.
Hi.
Hey.
Matt Brousseau.
Hi.
Handsome young Matt Brousseau.
Hi.
Thor.
Father
Thor
of 50,
himself.
54 boys and girls.
No,
out there.
5 that we know of.
5.
That we know of.
Beautiful, bouncing bundles of joy.
What's that from?
Thor. Well, your children are beautiful.
Oh, right.
And they're Franco-Canadian monsters, aren't they?
Well, I don't know.
Who's to
I know
say?
what I am.
Yeah.
I don't know what half of them are.
Hey, Franco. Nice.
Shout out to
the Spanish
Hispania.
fascists.
Cool.
No, we're not really shouting them out.
Cool.
No, like, listen.
we're
the
not.
fact
No,
that
we're
they
not.
had
No.
a strong man in
Absolutely
place
not.
during the time of World War II probably let them survive, any sort of colonization or annexation by the Nazi regime. But
Unless you were within the borders of Spain, where you were, probably murdered.
no, they
fairly
were
often.
actually much better life than the rest of Europe.
We'll save that for another one.
We'll
yeah.
unpack that
In
later.
praise of Franco by PETA.
He was so boring.
Yeah.
He was so boring
That he made Hitler make a funny.
Hitler had a good joke.
Hitler had a joke.
That's right.
Hitler, again, people,
So,
if you have any
yeah.
other instances of Hitler being funny,
You're welcome.
please send those.
You're
send
welcome,
those in.
Europe and world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Matt, you were Thor in the movie poster.
Oh, right. Yes. Go to the Instagram.
Yeah, go to
right.
Instagram. Follow us on Instagram, Profiles in Eccentricity.
Who did that?
That was Alex, our buddy from Patreon.
Thank you, Alex.
Now, here's a really funny thing: is that me and Aaron were getting liquored up at home the other night,
Sounds right.
and Aaron says to me, he goes, "You better be making a poster, with us on it." And I go, I already asked. And when I asked Alex to do it because he had done the other stuff on Patreon, Alex told me I was already working on it.
Yeah.
So everybody,
We have the best fans.
we do. And Alex, that was incredible. Thank you so much. So
We're with you to the end of the line, pal.
we're talking about, of course, Avengers Endgame. Aaron explains it all on Patreon. Subscribe to our Patreon.
I tried it. We did it on 4th of July,
Yeah,
Captain America's birthday,
yeah.
and it was released a day later. But hey, give me a break. I'm a child of divorce, so
That's right. Aaron, you did a fine job.
thank you.
People have said incredibly nice things about it.
Yeah.
And we do an extra show per week on Patreon. Please subscribe.
And that was episode 101 on Patreon.
Which is so great.
Because it was a lesson.
It was it was a tutorial.
And episode 100 was a much loved jukebox.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
right.
jukebox.
That's right. Yeah. So there's different types of shows, different muscles we flex on the Patreon, and another show per week for $5 and up. Please support, subscribe.
Emphasis on the and up.
I gotta say, Aaron, thank you for reminding me. Our buddy James Poland, who said he broke up with his boyfriend because we love each other more.
Yeah.
He heard more love in our show
Yeah.
for each other than he had in that relationship.
That's right.
He told me he was getting a promotion and he would bump up his subscription. So he went from $5 to $25 a
Oh, my
month.
God.
And now he's a single guy.
Oh, he's hot.
He's hot too.
He's a
Have you
hot-
seen him?
No. Pull him up.
He's a hot guy, and
Oh,
and also
Hot.
we have two hot hot Jameses. We got James Dillenbeck and James Poland.
Oh,
And James Dillenbeck, of course, does the wonderful.
and he's gay too.
That's right.
Oh my God, we could have a James love
James on
connection.
James.
Hot James on James
J2J.
action, hot fuck action to the max, Jack.
You said it, neighbor. My phone's over there, but
I will look at it. We'll go in the bathroom.
you can.
later and
Well, yeah. Well,
I mean, I'll do it now too.
Jack each other off.
Oh, there is a meme going around. It must have been going around for a while, but I just saw it where it was like a guy gets complimented once, and it's like once a year, and it's like he holds on to it forever, and it's that's sad. I don't know if it was just the community out here, but meeting you guys too. It's like complimenting each other is a very natural thing.
Yes. When you have something nice to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a while to kind of get used to doing that and also accepting it.
Yeah. I still squirm a little bit. And I don't. I'll deflect when I get a compliment.
Yeah.
And and I'm
But you just have to go. You just have to tell yourself, nah,
just take it.
take it.
Take it.
Accept it,
And
it's okay.
I didn't even know I did it until
James Poland, JC Poland 06.
exactly. Let's
Oh.
maybe not name his handle, but
No. Oh, well, you just got a lot more followers, pal.
But also, I
he's
think
ripped.
complimenting your friends will also teach you a healthy way to compliment your female friends too, without being a weirdo.
sure.
Because saying, "Hey, you look good" to your male friend, then you'll feel comfortable not sexually saying weird things to other people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
yes.
think that's good for young men to learn.
It is. It is.
And James, if you could give me your workout routine, I would be very, very appreciative. You got some nice abs
yeah.
and nipples.
And James, for your information, Aaron has been giving me a little tutorial at home.
That's right. We've been,
we've been working out together.
The gyms are
Sacred Band of
closed.
Thebes, you two.
Yeah.
On our way. The gyms are closed, but we've
Jameses
got a nice. The Jameses are open.
The gym's closed and the James open.
My God. We're just the first month and a half of quarantine. I just fucking gave up on working out because I was going to the gym like 3 times a week, and then they closed, and I was like, "Fuck it," and I just gave no fucks, and started hitting it again in the garage, and John's been doing a lot of running stairs. So
Yeah.
if you don't know, the Silver Lake area of Los Angeles, famous for the stairs, 100 years old stairs. John's been hitting that, and just really quite diligently. So kudos to you for that. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
And now you're getting into the
And the thing
weight
is, Aaron, about you, if I may compliment you, is you are one of the most gifted explainers I've ever met in my life. So
I like to explain it all.
but I mean, really, you're
noticed?
very, very talented at it. From everything from the botanical side of life to the exercise and the way the human body works.
Well, thank you very much.
So it's fun to work out with you because it's something I don't know a lot about,
Right.
and I like to learn about it.
Well, what's fun is explaining it because the best way to really learn or master something is by teaching it.
Yeah,
sure.
And it forces me to kind of go over
have to rethink what you're
fundamentals
doing.
and find my own, like, oh shit, I'm not even doing the things I'm saying to do.
Yeah,
And if you can't explain it, then why are you doing it?
If you can't explain it, you don't know it.
yeah.
So it's always, and I find myself now more motivated to do it now that you're doing it with me. So
Sure. Yeah, and when
fuck up.
I run, I just make it fun. I just listen to music I want to listen to, or like put on my like Spotify Discover Weekly,
smoke a little dope.
and I get high. So
Oh,
when I
interesting.
stretch, that feels good. And I stretch before and after. The 2 different types of stretching.
Well, static and dynamic.
Yes, exactly.
You want to warm up with dynamic stuff so you don't pull anything, and then once you're
Yeah.
warm after your workout, you do your static stuff, your toe
Yeah.
touches, etc.
And because and through
And
just
James, feel free to correct me.
doing that, and chugging a little more water than usual,
Gotta have the water.
not sore. Just not
No,
sore.
no, that's true, yeah.
Sore today from the weightlifting the other day. But you told me that would happen.
That's right,
You told
2
me
days
it
later.
would skip a day.
Delayed onset muscle soreness.
It's really, really interesting stuff. I'm sorry. That was a little bit of
Well,
a...
listen, we're a show for weirdos by weirdos, and this is one of our
This is part of the weird thing. And here's the weird thing. One last little thing I want to say.
I mean, this is how you get for real with this body. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I know. And I'm learning that.
Hi.
One of the reasons I like going for the run too, and in the stairs between that connect our roads at dead end. it's the only time there's the threat of seeing a woman
Yeah.
in quarantine. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, I believe you.
Like,
And
you know,
women, and they've ditched their bras.
if I'm taking an Uber and I stop and I hear like a woman's voice, I'm not even joking. It's like to that level where I'm like, it's such a trip.
Well, yeah, it's we are we had that conversation earlier today about like, oh, I didn't used to look at this person that way. Now I do.
Yeah, quarantine.
Who is it? I don't know. You think?
Quarantine's a hell of a drug. Gonna have a little bit of news. Stay tuned for the end of the episode about the next episode.
Oh my god!
And there's some exciting stuff coming. But first, Matt, you have a little thing you want to.
I have a little thing. See if we can make this work with this setup here. But for the YouTube folks, I'll try to remember to post the video. So I'm not going to read the headline because the way they write headlines now, it just gives away the whole story. You know, I've discovered that. You know, just trying to like tease a story to you guys, and then it's all in the headline.
Vampire tricked in steam room.
Right. Well, that's better. I mean, what they should do, what the headlines should do, is just
Pornhub titles.
Or Pornhub ads. One simple trick. Doctors hate this guy. Why? I don't know. I'm going to read more to find out.
Right.
Yes. Right. Except you get betrayed by those with clickbait, and then you get mad.
Well, if it's a good article, then you don't feel betrayed.
True.
You know?
Very true, Aaron.
Mm-hmm. So
it's only a trick if you trick somebody.
Wow, you're into magic?
Yeah, I'm pretty into magic.
Nice, dude. So as you know, everybody's doing Zoom conferences, Zoom calls. You know, I don't know if they're all Zoom, but it's now
some
become...
people do speed. Zoom speed.
Do you think Zoom is going to be like it's like the Hoover instead of vacuum type thing, like tissue?
Well, it used to be Skype.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were so bad at keeping their...
Is it going to be the Kleenex of whatever?
It does seem to be technology that I barely ever used before now, of course. And now that I do use it, I'm like, well, this sucks.
Yeah. But it's what Zoom, or I had a video conference.
Right, yeah.
I think one day it'll just be call.
Yeah. And the expectation. So I'm just going to show you. So this is a meeting with the South Sudanese ambassador to the U.S., and he's meeting with a bunch of other people. Mm-hmm. He was a guest on Lake State Media's show to discuss political affairs in Sudan. And I got this from VOA, Voice of America. But the video is
That's still around?
Oh, yeah. It's the largest international American news organization. But the video, thankfully, was on the, of course, hotinjuba.com.
Hot in Juba?
Yeah.
Is Juba in Sudan?
I think so. I don't know. I meant to look that up. But I forgot, and I didn't have time or something. Anyway, I'm just going to show you guys the video.
Cool.
And we'll go over it.
Okay.
And we...
That's our
I
guy?
think you need to mute Ambassador Gordon Boy. I believe he's the one making noise.
Oh.
Got it.
Oh, did he take it in the bath? Oh, they leave the bathroom door.
Yes. So we all signed the peace agreement.
Oh.
And
Oh,
we
no.
are there to
Why?
implement it.
Is he on his phone? Or is he doing this on
When
purpose?
He's
doing it on
over
purpose.
the names of our nominees.
So what the guy running the meeting just cut his video feed. What he did is he did the whole meeting in his bed wearing just a t-shirt. And he was so combative the entire time. A lot of people think he was drunk. And then he went up to take a piss, and he forgot he was wearing just a t-shirt and just held his phone in his hand while he was walking. And if you slow it down, you could probably find his dick somewhere. And then
cool.
He went to the bathroom and he took a piss
Nice.
in the middle of the meeting, which, if you mean to do that,
That's a baller move.
yeah, it's a very good move. But he definitely didn't mean to do it. When he was asked about it, I think the next day or so, he said, he posted on Facebook, "Don't believe the fake video."
Oh, God. What a fucking idiot. You know what? That's what Trump does.
Yeah.
I never said that. You're on film. It's
Yeah.
fake. What?
My dick's huge. It'd be touching the water.
That's really good.
Ambassador Juba.
He's only wearing a T-shirt like fucking Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, exactly.
The fuck is that?
Because he's on the call. He has to. It's the thing where you
That's
like.
Why even a T-shirt?
Yeah, I mean,
Dress up.
That's the thing I don't get about people
True.
around the house when they're wearing their fucking pajamas. Like, have some self-respect and wear something other than nothing.
Sure.
Around the house.
Even if I'm on a video call, listen, I could be wearing nothing right now. I could be wearing just a shirt in this video chat, this video conference, this video podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'm wearing pants. I don't need to be, but I am because I respect you and I respect the viewers and listeners because I perform different when I have pants on.
Yeah, I mean, there's also just the act of getting dressed it puts you in a mindset,
It's a
right?
ritual. Captain America in the motion picture Winter Soldier said, "You going to war? You gotta have a uniform.
Suit up.
Suit up. You gotta put on a uniform."
I have to monitor some recordings in the mornings now, and I'm usually eating breakfast while it's happening, and I wear shorts most of the day now. But when I get up, I don't let anyone see that.
Yeah.
But also at the eating, I duck. For the first hour of every recording, you can only see my nose and eyes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool, like Wilson.
Yeah.
From the TV program.
Motion.
Well, it is a motion picture.
Oh, was it?
Well, no,
No.
but a TV show is a motion picture.
Yeah,
I wrong?
Very,
Am I
very
wrong?
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Wilson, the quirky neighbor.
Am I
from,
wrong?
From Home Improvement.
Home Improvement, of course.
Are these pictures moving or what?
Yeah. Tim Allen, nice and chopped up on that.
A career off of a.
I mean, and he was a chop psycho.
Used to sell it.
Yeah, well,
You
then
sell it
he
and-
got out of his thing.
and he
like-
snitched on
He
everybody.
rolled on people. Yeah,
And,
well,
he said I got on stage because nobody would kill me there.
math checks out.
Yeah, and then
The math checks out.
and then he complained about cancel culture.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, dude, what about the people you canceled by snitching
Yeah.
on them?
Maybe they were
That's
some really
real,
bad. Maybe they
real
were,
cancel culture.
maybe they were real bad dudes.
yeah, but
RBDs?
RBGs. RGB?
yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's
Snitches get stitches.
yeah. Nobody likes a snitch.
Well,
Tell me, I want to kick this off here. Tell me what you boys know. I'm gonna make you do the work.
what?
Tell me what you boys know about Nero
Nero from
Nero.
Star Trek.
from. Is that a Star Trek person?
Eric Bana played Nero in the 2009 reboot of the Star Trek franchise.
Ah,
He was a Romulan. Whole time travel thing. It's great. You should see it.
Rome. Very good.
If
If memory serves.
if my memory serves,
He was the Trump of Caesar's
It's
of Rome.
very, very, very Trumpy.
Yeah.
he was. I mean,
Made his horse a
there's-
senator.
No, that's Caligula.
Oh, is that Caligula? Oh,
Yeah.
The movie Caligula too is real nice.
I haven't seen the movie Caligula.
Wasn't that Guccione?
That is Penthouse. Yeah, Penthouse.
Or as you might say, Guccione, as
Yeah.
we figured out last night.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you guys were listening to Civil War?
No, we were talking about Ennio Morricone.
Is that Civil War? No, what is that? Use Your Illusion 2? Sorry. Get in the Ring. That's the Guns N' Roses song.
Oh,
Bob
no.
Guccione Jr. What, you pissed off because your dad gets more pussy than you?
Jesus
Fuck you.
It's a Guns N' Roses deep cut.
It's
Wow,
no,
that's
just-
a real deep cut.
That's
for
Axl
me.
Rose doing his fucking going off on people.
Well, no, Ennio Morricone died yesterday.
Yeah.
The composer, and John kept saying Morricone, and I was like, I don't know. He's Italian. Doesn't sound right.
Well, he was
I
in
was like,
Ireland
what do
for a
you
bit.
think? What do you think? And so we looked it up, and they confirmed it. It was a YouTube pronunciation.
Yeah.
They said,
In English, Ennio Morricone.
yeah.
In Italian, Ennio Morricone.
It was Ennio. Ennio.
Morricone. And
You say it with your
RIP.
hands.
rest in peace, 91 years old.
Yeah.
And then we got into a little music conversation that was nice. And
What's the tell me what you know about Nero.
Dude, honestly, fiddling while Rome burns,
Right.
as that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
And really not much else.
So
Wait, hold on.
Ask
May I?
Matt.
but yeah, I thought you already went.
No. I mean, it all seems like a lot of rumor, a lot of bacchanal, like orgy,
Ooh, Bacchanalia.
A lot of extravagance.
and abusive stuff. But he was like the he was like that twisted son of like families fucking each other until their kid is like a weirdo. But again, that
Right.
a lot of it seems like rumor, because there's also the rumor that he purposefully set the
Cultivated
fires.
Yeah.
And that also he wasn't actually there.
He wasn't. He was in Antium.
Yeah, when it happened.
Yes. And, he lost a palace in the fire.
And he had like this elaborate. He had like a secret, elaborate palace.
That comes in the wake of the fire.
Oh, okay.
And that's the Dome Aurea, and
We'll chat Dome.
that was built in the wake of the fire.
Oh, okay.
And so the thing is that he's a fucking twat,
Right.
big time, right? Which is why I'm talking about him here. But there's a lot of stuff where you have to kind of doubt history, and because it's that same thing with the Bible, where they would kind of like, annotate it to, work for the current Holy Roman Emperor.
Who's writing it?
And stuff like that.
Right. Jesus, there wasn't a crowd of Jewish people going, kill Jesus. No, it was the same guy who had sent all the other heretics,
Right.
quote unquote heretics, to death.
Yeah.
Right, and there wasn't a large literate base that could verify or produce their own
Right.
historical documents. There were very few people that were in control of the narrative back then, so the narrative was able to be twisted.
And when you turn a page, right, like it's kind of like after the page is turned, it's
turn,
it's fucking the whole legacy is whatever they decide, right? It's won by the victors. Nero is the end of the Julio-Claudian dynasty.
I say dynasty.
I hope to die nasty.
Oh shit.
When I die, bury me in the teak. And that's real. That I want that to happen.
Okay.
I want you to burn me and then put me in a popper's bottle and sell me at the teak.
That's a good idea, Aaron.
So the freaks can
Yeah.
Oh,
big time.
man. Wow.
That's really smart.
sniff me.
That's sweet.
That's really nice of you.
Thank you.
So first of all, it wasn't the fiddle. Fiddle doesn't come around until fucking 1400s or something.
What is it, a liar or something?
It's a liar, and he did
Lyre.
yes, and he is kind of characterized as being he was a huge fuck up, but also is a lot of the history poisoned by it needing to change because the emperors were. And after his death, starting backwards here, but he was it was like there's 4 emperors in a very short period of time.
Right
After Nero.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden,
So
all of those things
give us a
get chopped.
timeline here. Is this what?
37 AD is, I believe, when Claudius dies, and that was his adopted father. And now Caligula's sister was Agrippina, and
they were.
I mean, Caligula fucked everybody, but this was the interesting thing about Agrippina is she got power, and it was all the only way you could do it as a woman was marriage.
Well, she was no Agriltrude. You remember Agriltrude?
Yeah, why do I know that name?
That when you did the pervert popes.
Yeah.
And the popes on trial, and
she was she the mother?
Yeah, she was the mother.
Yeah.
She was a real nasty bee.
Yeah.
Maybe she was
But
like
also,
an Agriltrude.
but also, the rumors were that she was the one in power because she had like 2 or 3 kids.
Well, this is very much the case, and there's definitely notes of Circe Joffrey
right.
here, and 16 when Nero comes to power.
She is, or
6? Yeah, no, he is.
he's 16 when
He's 16, and he was adopted. His biological father was also in, the family, and historians said he had kind of a fondness for blood in the games and such, more than was appropriate for his station in the dynasty.
And also, and these were times where bloodlust was more welcome than it is now.
Oh yeah, I mean you were watching people, fight to the death and stuff like that. But that even comes later with the Colosseum and things like that. We'll get to that. But Claudius has an older son, Britannicus.
Britannicus.
Yes. And Britannicus is obviously the more sensible kind of
He's the encyclopedia
heir. And Agrippina, when he's out of country, Agrippina, it's believed, but not conclusively, that she poisoned Claudius. And then
the father of these two boys.
The father of these two boys, but one is adopted, right? One's hers. So
From who? Do we know who his father was?
yes.
Some guy.
It's some guy, but he's in the family. They're all inbred. It's all inter. But also, again, it's so that you can possibly attain power, right? So then it's like
it's all about
sisters,
succession, bloodlines.
You could be my sister is my wife,
Right.
My girlfriend is my boyfriend.
I'm also my mother.
Yeah.
It's in you can. There's a boundary of trust at the very least. Mm-hmm. No matter what happens, the family still gets it.
Yeah. So for a while there, she's basically running the show, and she doesn't, have anybody else killed as long as they don't really pipe up about Nero being the king, and Britannicus doesn't really, and so she gets basically the head of his Praetorian Guard to be somebody in her favor, and then she has basically decisions made by these council of people, and even she is portrayed on the coinage with him,
two
like
heads.
facing each other.
So this kind of like Mary and Jesus.
It's very reminiscent again of when Joffrey comes to power. It's the stag and the lion.
Yeah.
Is his thing. It's showing that the Lannister
Unity of the two.
is and this had never happened before. She was allowed into the Senate. She couldn't speak, but she would be able to listen in and everything. And she was. Why is that funny?
You just broke
You
him.
can come in, but listen, like you can't pipe up. I mean, no, you're stationed.
But even that was breaking huge ground.
Right.
Huge ground. And while basically his elders are writing his speeches, running the country, and all that type of stuff, he's just kind of being a kid and fucking around. And one of the things he would do is with a couple of other thugs, this fucking thing with royals, man, they want to be commoners. So he would get all fucking gussied up like a commoner and then go out and mug people.
Yeah.
He would beat them and take their money. And then one time there was like a noble, rich looking motherfucker, far below Nero's status, of course. And Nero and his boys fucking jump him. And this dude fucking beats their fucking asses.
Oh, shit.
He throws a major ass whipping on them. And then he realizes it's Nero.
The makeup came off.
And he's fucking like, oh shit, what do I do here? And Nero can't say anything because it's not supposed to be him, right? And then the dude fucking makes the colossal mistake of apologizing. And now it's happened. And now you've committed treason.
Wait.
The nobleman apologizes to Nero.
Wait, why is that treason? I'm sorry.
Because he whooped the Roman emperor.
Oh, okay. So he's admitting that
He's admitting that I kicked Nero's ass, and of course that's not going to stand. So he's immediately put to death.
That's tough. I mean, the poor people.
Shut up.
The poor people aren't inbreeding because they need to rise. They're trying to build a base. You're like, look at this inbred. Oh, he's Nero. He's so inbred. Fuck.
So during his reign, there's generals that have they put down successful rebellions against what would be the ancient Iranian, the Parthian Empire. They have the first Jewish-Roman War, which...
And this is right after the crucifixion of Christ, right?
This is 60s, back in the 60s.
This is the 60s.
And before the fall
60s.
of Rome, right? Because
Flower
the
child.
fall of Rome is 76.
Yeah.
So the crucial 40 years we're talking about. Right?
Yeah. And Nero's right in there, And so, that leads to, Jews also becoming the scapegoats just as much as the Christians in the Roman Empire. And they, kind of had to go disperse and become kind of more nomadic people.
Well, I would imagine that at this time the Christians weren't even a group.
They were more like a minor cult.
Right. It wasn't until like 300 that the Christians became.
But they were really around, man, and they
in that time
in the 60s. Think about it. 60 years have passed.
So 60
no,
AD?
30 years.
60 AD.
30 years have passed. Christ died in 33, quote unquote.
Right. Okay. Yes. Right.
And he wasn't even like, Paul didn't even like meet him.
Yeah.
And like, so those, the road to Damascus and all that stuff was like that religion wasn't even around for another 100 or
It really was around. Nero killed a lot of Christians.
no shit.
Yeah.
They were straight up around.
I mean, yeah.
So-
But the feeding them to the lions in the Colosseum, that's much later.
Yeah, but it's really started by Nero.
No shit.
The theory from Zealot, the book I read about Jesus, I said heretic earlier, I meant Zealot, but was that his story was continued by his brother.
Right.
And so those stories were all around, whether it was compiled into one.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was a large.
It was, I think, a cult at the time, but the religion didn't take hold for a while later to where they were a sizable minority that where they could be fed to lions in the Colosseum.
Right, but it was the kind of thing I think at the
Jews
time.
were still the scapegoat of the du jour.
Yeah, and that's changed.
The Christians were the main scapegoat for the fire in Rome.
No shit.
Yeah, by Nero's choice, because
way.
you got to blame somebody.
Well, it's these Marxist leftists.
Well, they had probably already driven the Jews out too. So who else are you going to fucking blame?
I think that also, Christianity, like we've talked about before in the program, is such a rebellion from Roman excess, and it was like a conservative bent. It was like I compared it to when punk rock got just like heroin fucking infested, then you have straight edge comes out of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the straight edge.
It's a hard turn. And then they probably never shut the fuck up about it, like people into CrossFit or whatever.
Well, what happens is that the people that then gain power then abuse it and they start doing the heroin.
Well, it's just if you have a group that doesn't fit in, they always make a useful scapegoat, right?
Of course, yeah.
And so
until that you become a sizable enough group that group is now the orthodoxy.
Sure.
Because then Christianity becomes the like you said, Holy Roman Empire.
Right. And then also if
400.
If they abuse the shit out of Christians and then you watch fucking Rome go down the toilet, maybe then you go, oh, we were wrong all along.
Right.
And maybe they've got something going on here.
Maybe you do, or maybe you double down.
Or maybe they just think, But, so in his early time, he's just being a kid. And he has he was like the first one who didn't write his own speeches in the early years, which was like frowned upon. Like even Caligula wrote speeches, and he was fucking completely out of his fucking mind.
I ate the pussy, I ate the ass,
I ate every damn thing. So, and that's the thing too. Part of the disrespect of the Senate by Claudius started with Claudius, or not Claudius, Caligula. Yeah. When he came to power, Nero was saying he was going to respect the Senate, and that went on for a time.
And he's what? Is that when he's 16 or
he's 16 when he comes to power?
And he says, okay.
Yeah. And so he's, reading, these speeches by Seneca, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then, he has his Praetorian Guard and he has his mother. And it's basically them running the empire in the early years. And, teenage boys are a motherfucker, man. And
explains all the milk porn.
Roman.
And he marries Octavia, who is his stepsister.
Mm-hmm.
And now
brother.
Oh God.
And she got stuck in a dryer.
And now she's really seen as like stuck in a dryer. Yeah,
she caught him jerking off.
Dude, I can't believe how many of these girls are getting stuck under beds, dryers. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Vampire tricked in steam room.
I think they're women. It turns out they're all chaps. Guess what?
I like it. Yeah. What we do in the shadows on FX.
So good.
Catch it on Hulu.
Yeah. We
Matthew Perry.
We then find that Octavia is by all accounts a lovely girl, very reminiscent of her Julio-Claudian heritage, beloved by the Roman people,
strong chin,
and but he is like fallen for some like common girl, and his
all
his
that
mom
running
is
around.
his mom's not feeling
What is this,
that.
Aladdin?
Tramp?
His mom's not feeling that, and then she's getting closer to Octavia, and then his mom is like, well, or the Nero is like, oh, you need to get out of here. He banishes her.
Who?
His mom.
What?
His mom, get out of here because I love this common street trash.
Mm-hmm.
And you want me to get with Octavia, but I don't like that.
Well, he's already married to her. He marries her,
Right,
but it's forced,
it's
basically.
political, right?
It's very political, and it's another extension of his mother's influence over him. If his mother gains influence over Octavia, right? So he's trying to throw off some of these chains, and keep in mind too, probably the street chatter at the time is like, hey, no woman has ever ruled like Agrippina is ruling.
Right.
Like, this is kind of crazy. She's on the money.
Is she doing a good job?
People are generally pretty happy, and it seems that in this lineage there comes a very Trumpy populism.
Yeah.
Nero is he's an odd one. He's a real odd one, because his dad had some fondness for the theater and things like that. And Nero takes that on, the liar and all that stuff.
Well, so maybe he was a theatric kid.
He was hella.
Well, he was already fucking dressing up and fighting people.
He's pretending to be a poor person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, dude. We're just getting started there. This guy is a full-on theater kid.
Yeah.
And that was
mascara, cutting.
That was seen at the time
Musicals.
of being lower than a slave. So all of you artists out there,
Only at that time?
in ancient Rome, it was considered equal to prostitute,
Yeah.
casting couch, etc. And it was like you go and you do these little tricks for the rich people. Like
Right.
it was seen as very, very low.
Yeah, and it's also one can kind of put themselves in in their shoes, in that it's frivolous.
Yes,
Right,
it's
because
silly.
you're in a period of time in which seeing people die in an arena is not that shocking, because you're not that far removed from quote unquote the wild.
Yeah.
Right? And you can understand that seeing people pretending to be other people in this game is seen as frivolous and a waste of time, even though Rome was just copying Greek culture.
Yeah.
That was 1,000 years prior and had a rich culture,
And he had
of theater.
he had a strong affinity for the Greek stuff, and
I bet he did.
and that was considered effeminate to be into that.
Yeah.
And so this is the kind of thing that came out in his personality that would turn certain people in the Roman aristocracy against him. But more so than that was that the Roman aristocracy incurred quite higher taxes. And it seems that may have led to his downfall more than anything. And what he would do with that, again, very populist, was build more stadiums and big
Bread and circus,
public works projects and things like that. But that's kind of like more when he comes into his own power. When he sends his mother away, his mother was definitely responsible for some deaths in her ascendancy to power.
Ascension.
Ascension.
Now, where did he send her?
It was basically out of country.
Away.
Majorca.
And
Oh, nice.
when and then she basically said, well, I will say Britannicus has the better claim
To the throne.
Yeah.
Because he's blood.
because
Or two has two bloodlines.
he's Claudius's real son, and he's
My
the elder. Fucking it's nonsense.
Yeah.
Nero getting it was just her machination.
Do you think that was her knowing that she could manipulate Nero more than she could Claudius's kid? Britannica?
Yeah.
Britannicus?
I mean, there must be some.
It was
motivation.
just endless ambition on her part. She did not want to lose power, and she was losing power.
Well,
what-
I guess
that's my
younger
question.
kid, the younger kid, you have more
she
years.
had more sway over Nero than Britannicus, or maybe what you're saying.
Yeah.
is that-
It's her actual kid.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you grow up in this fucking insane family. You're already kind of a rich kid, right? and then suddenly you're a possible next Caesar, and then you actually become the Caesar, and then you're like fucking 18 years old or whatever, and you know your mom's been basically running the show. You probably have an inferiority complex about that. You're the first emperor that didn't write his own speeches, and all these things are going through your head, and you're kind of like, all right, well, I do want to marry this fucking girl, and I'm Caesar. I want to do whatever I want.
You've been told,
and now I'm going to prove that I'm going to do whatever I want, even if you know now you're doing it just to show that you can.
Sure.
It's something that, you know, you're growing up and you've been told that you're good and you're strong, and then you finally. He's like, well, yeah, of course. Now I want to prove it for once. I don't want to be told I am.
And it's believed that as power kind of was slipping away from her in the relationship, that she offered herself to her son a few times sexually.
I bet.
And that's like when the guy apologizing to him, that's the moment where there's no way it's an even field anymore. The moment that happens, then he's in control.
How old was she?
Huh?
How old was she?
Like, did she look good? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, I mean, you know, the story of Oedipus is believable because she had him when she was like 15.
Right, yeah.
And you would imagine that she probably had Nero at a young age too.
Yes.
Hot, young, you know.
He
got stuck in a clay jar.
Right.
The clay jar was turned over. And she was looking for onions, and she got stuck, and like she needed to get out. What are you doing, honey? Claudius?
Mom trapped in pottery.
Claudius, is that you back from the dead? Oh
God!
Wow,
You feel bigger somehow,
and younger,
but also harder.
So yeah, she's very, but you know she. It's hard to think that Nero wouldn't know that his mother killed her way to power.
Well, she probably, you know, explained it at some point.
Britannicus did have a very good claim. And so then Britannicus was killed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. So she basically sold him out.
Well, no. She was really using him.
Well, what I mean is by trying to use him, he became Nero's target.
He was always going to be a threat anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Better claim to the throne. The minute Nero's unpopular for X, Y, and Z, everybody can look to Britannicus and be like, okay. And so then, you know, people in the Senate, they kind of want her back. She is something of a stabilizing force. She might be ambitious and all that, but, you know, it's not a fucking kid that never was emperor before, you know, whiling out.
Yeah.
So, you know, she kind of comes back into the fold, and it's still this jockeying for power thing that Nero is and he does want, you know, to marry this common girl, and he has a bunch of fucking bungled attempts to have her killed, man.
His mother.
And
do you remember any of the good bungles?
He bungled the matricide?
He bungled matricide. I mean, poisonings didn't work.
Mr. Bungle.
And then he's like, all right, here's the deal. He's like, we're going to get her on a boat, right? The boat's fucked. And he goes, I mean, this thing is shit. And the boat goes out. The boat goes out with his mom on it. And, you know,
she fixes the boat.
She's supposed to have some fucking, like, meeting out there or whatever. She's like, what? Okay. And then she goes out. The boat fucking sinks, and she just swims to shore.
And he's standing on top of the tallest building watching.
Yeah, going, fuck. And then he just...
I forgot she's an adult.
So, and then she...
She never taught me to swim.
And then she...
She trips down the stairs.
No, then he just has a dude kill her when she gets to shore, basically. Yeah. And so...
It was a shark.
Should have fucked her first.
And then there's a bunch of charges, you know...
also, rest in peace, Mary Kay Letourneau. Speaking of the... Mary Kay Letourneau died today.
Yeah.
And speaking of women abusing their power to have sex with young boys.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, you monster. Anyways... Agrippa swims ashore.
Yeah.
Nero has somebody kill her.
And so then, you know, Seneca, the head of his Praetorian Guard, they're all like, dude, that killing your mother is never this summer's hottest look.
Well, especially not in that fashion either.
No.
And I think, you know, when charges came out against her that she had been doing all this shit after she was dead, like somebody stormed out of the Senate just being like, this is fucking bullshit. And so then that begins like that's the beginning of his acrimony with the Senate then, right? And yeah, please, Aaron, I would love a beer. It was very sweet. I listened to.
You want to take a little break?
Let's take a hot little break. We'll come right back to it, folks. And we're back.
Oh, shit.
Now, Aaron, where we were, Nero's killed his mother, 59 AD. And it's like, oh, the reasons for him doing it are not fully understood. It's like, what? Yeah, they are. And it was, first of all, she threatened him. Terrible, terrible fucking idea. Just do not, after fucking Caligula and all, just don't threaten him. But Nero was having this affair with Poppaea Sabina, and she was a freed woman, you know.
You say Poppaea?
A freed woman, meaning she was a slave at one point?
Yeah, and yeah, and that was, you know, not
Nice, dude.
Poppaea?
Poppaea, Poppaea, Poppaea,
Oh.
and
Cool.
You're thinking papaya.
No, I was thinking of the porn star Poppaea, which I've always
What is
wondered
she into?
a lot. Legal porno.
That's so great that there is a porn company that is so perverse that they have to just name themselves so they remind their audience, hey, this is all legal porno.
Which is
I know what you're seeing here looks
terrible.
diabolical,
Yeah.
but it's all
Yeah.
legal porno.
yeah.
So rest assured,
Also, I mean, well, that is,
Hey, it's legal, pal.
it's legal porno, pal.
Yeah.
but
And that's also how you pay is legal porno, pal.
You know what's funny is that just because it's legal doesn't mean it's okay. You know?
yeah.
And also just because something's illegal doesn't mean it's not okay.
Right. You know what's really scary is that international waters porn. Now that shit. Oh.
What?
Oh,
Hey.
are you finding that?
No, I just made that up.
Oh, okay.
You guys were both so scared.
Yeah, because there's a
That maritime law porn? Ooh, boy.
because there's a woman named Poppaea who performs on legal porn.
Poppaea.
No.
Poppaea.
Poopea. I don't understand.
Dude, I cannot believe I have not found this person yet. This
You're
angel.
you're not looking right.
This girl pees poop.
And she poos pee.
Yeah, she's got a vent like a chicken.
A cloaca,
Yeah.
as they call it. That's right. Is that another porn star that you know? Cloaca?
So there's a guy in the family named Otho.
Oh, from Beetlejuice?
There's that guy Otho, and he'll
Does he hate leisure suits?
he'll later on, I believe, become one of the like 4 fucking emperors they have in a year after Nero. All the internecine feuding.
Ooh.
Good usage.
And so he's denying Octavia. He's liking Poppaea, and it just kind of pushed him over the edge, right? And it was like he didn't marry her until 62, right? So that's 3 years later.
Who?
Poppaea.
Did he annul his marriage to Octavia or whatever?
Well, at first, he just gets rid of Octavia,
Oh.
right?
Wait, does
Same
he,
place he got rid of his mom?
does he kill her or does she move somewhere? What does that mean?
He banishes her at first, right?
Banishes her into the assassin.
Now the thing is too is that, you know, because of all these loyalties and all of this fucking web of intrigue shit going on, you kind of want to get some of those fucking people away from you too, because you might see Octavia as a political threat from a differing faction of the Julio-Claudian dynasty.
But you know,
But also she's very well liked, so it's not also this summer's hottest look
To get rid of
Octavia. She's, you know, and it's also it binds him to the legacy of Augustus and all these guys, you know.
sure, but paranoia
legitimizes
breeds
him.
paranoia
Yes.
breeds paranoia, and
It does. So she was with this guy when the affair started, and then you know, she's getting closer to Nero, and I don't think she's exerting any influence over him, but who's to say, right?
The street woman.
Yes, this freed woman. And so a lot of people said that, while his mother was alive, the reign had been going rather well, and now for the first time he's forced to confront decision making
on his own,
and he would panic, according to
oh boy.
But things had happened under the empire's banner in his reign. Like they did a big exploration of the Nile, which would have been just thrilling at the time.
Sure. Wow, silt.
There was a British rebellion was put down, and there was like I said, the first Roman Jewish war, and things were basically pretty full of victory and success, right? And that's part of the thing too, is that there was, ever since the first Caesars, there was this thing that's very Trumpy about do something flashier, be the best ever, and all that stuff. And that's where a lot of his frivolous stuff came from, right?
Is he imbibing? Is there any word of?
He'll have very, very. I think he had like a week-long orgy.
That'd be probably pretty fun to the brain.
And so after his mom dies, he really goes over, and
he's mourning.
He said to believe she haunts him.
No, that's a form of mourning.
You wouldn't fuck me.
So that's why he has a week-long orgy
to fuck her out of his brain.
And this guy, he basically would only hear flattery. He's very, very, very Trump. And after his, they say killing Britannicus was the beginning, but after he killed his mom, it was really deeply.
He'll kill anybody that speaks an unkind word.
Yeah. There was an advisor, Burrus. He died in 62 AD. And some plots against Nero were unveiled. All those people were executed. And then he's just, turning against the Senate more, because some of those people are, shown to be loyal to other factions again of the dynasty. But he's still part of that dynasty, right? So that's still what he has going for him.
That's the thing that makes it. That's the only thing that makes him legitimate.
Yes, right? Yes. So then Seneca is retiring, and Octavia is actually divorced from Nero because of supposed infertility.
Infertility.
Yes, she cannot provide him with an heir, right?
Well, he's leaving his seed everywhere else.
And then
shooting all the good stuff into.
Yeah.
And people are protesting after her being kind of banished. And
I'll come in her to prove you wrong.
I'll
come in her, she'll get pregnant like that, dude.
He accuses her of adultery with the guy that he had kill his mom.
Say that one more time.
He accuses Octavia of sleeping with the guy that killed his mom, and then she's executed. And so he marries Poppaea, and he gets her pregnant, and he it's believed kicks her to death while pregnant.
Oh God.
Yeah. Some people say she had a miscarriage. Whatever.
It sounds like his sister was like, I hope I don't. She was sponging it. She was like, I better not get pregnant.
Now this is where things get pretty weird.
Oh, this?
Oh, now?
Oh, weird.
He really loses the plot after this. He seems to be really in love with her. He would have these crazy parties.
Look what you made me do.
These crazy orgies. But at the end of one of them, he marries a dude.
Hell yeah.
He gets dressed up, up like a woman.
Nice.
All right.
And this dude just really digs him out.
Oh,
Goes
in
to town.
In front of everybody.
All right.
After like a really long orgy.
I've been to some boring weddings, I'd be cool with that.
And they sure do consummate it big time.
He's all spent, but he's getting dug out by his new husband.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's
listen, man, he's a non-binary, non-gender conforming, with super woke dictator.
That's the coolest part of the story.
And he's the wife. Nero's the wife.
Yeah.
And Pythagoras is his name.
What?
Pythagoras?
Named after the Greek Pythagoras, I would imagine, not the actual Pythagoras. 'Cause that's
Right.
500 years
and
ago.
also like Nero might have named him,
Right.
Because Nero was fond of, don't forget the
Greek lifestyle.
the Greek lifestyle quite a bit, Aaron. Very, very, very true.
He put his hypotenuse in his vertex, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey, douche.
So we got to talk about the fire, right?
Well,
Can we talk
Sure.
more about the butt fucking?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, I mean,
fire
what
inside.
do you want to know? He's the husband. The Caesar is the wife.
what happened after? Did everybody just leave?
How did everybody feel about that? How did the population feel about
there
that?
a
Who was
cake?
at the party?
I mean, they've already been through Caligula and shit. I'm sure this is actually
true.
not that bad, right?
So Caligula, wait, how far before? How is this the same generation? Like, could someone have lived through both Caligula and?
I think Caligula is before Claudius.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah, so it's just my dad told me of a similar situation.
well, I don't care if my Caesar butt fucks man or gets butt fucked by man or kills his mother, as long as he doesn't play the liar.
well, that's kind of the thing, right? Is that but also
That's too much.
he's really, really into Greek stuff.
Oh, so fucking hot.
In a frat.
Math,
So some
democracy.
some people think he started the fire. A
It was
lot,
always burning since the wheel's been turning.
a lot of historians don't, and
Yeah, it's
the reason why is, again, he did lose some shit. Like one of his palaces burned to the ground, and also it was just kind of a tinderbox, like already.
everything
Yeah,
back
yeah.
then.
And one of the things to his credit that he does after is he creates like the first building codes. Like the streets have to be this far apart so that
Fire can't jump.
the fire can't
Oh,
jump,
shit.
and
Or one guy on fire can't run into 10 different buildings.
and he is happy to, put his own little artistic flair on it. He really does fancy you, an artist.
What is his artistic flair?
He'll do poetry and make people listen to it. He'll play the fucking lyre and sing stuff, and a lot of Greek myth stuff. He'll act, and like one of his masks looks like Popea, and so it kind of reminds people of him. But he's like seemingly really distraught over her death, even though he might have caused it. But it also reminds people of it. So people are like, first of all, you're acting, which is disgusting.
Right.
Then you're reminding us of this horrible murder of your wife.
What's that psychopath thing where they would look what you made me do?
And there's supposed reports of people like faking their own deaths to get out, because you can't leave a performance of the emperor.
Right.
And also reports. Yeah, there's also reports of women like not being able to leave, so they would give birth. They would go into labor and give birth during the performance, because you can't. It's not gonna be a good idea to leave this guy while he's doing a sonnet or
You're
whatever.
our most cherished kid. You were born so we could
Ain't
leave.
that a bitch? Right? It's a real nightmare.
that's one of those 8'2", 400-yard facts for me. Like,
Well, there's
all right, we're going into labor now.
well, that's the thing too, is that there are stories like that. Like they said about it, the palace that he built. Well, we'll get to that. But so there's just huge damage, and he does rebuild the city, and it just doesn't really check out. People say, I think Pliny the Elder was unsure whether Nero started it or not, and like I said, there's a lot of people that want to really drag his name through the mud because it's a changing of the guard time afterwards historically. Some people say he didn't like the construction. He wanted to have an artistic bent on the city. He wanted to build all this shit. His golden house was the Domus Aurea, right? And that was, some people say 100 acres. Some people say 300 acres.
Yeah, 100 sounds small.
And it was like
sense.
it was like a city within a city, and it would have pastures with farm animals, fruit trees. Like it was crazy. A massive man-made lake.
Is that where Prince Charles got the idea to build his own city?
I don't know.
Oh, I'll talk about that in another one.
Oh boy.
But it was gold walls, gold leaf walls.
So there's just guys scraping at it.
A 30-meter tall statue of himself,
Yeah, of course.
which was already on a pedestal, which was like 12 feet tall. So it's already like 2 of you before the statue even starts. I think the Statue of Liberty is like 90 meters or something like that. Like
It's big.
it's huge, massive, and it's just endless banquet halls, right? And upon its completion, which took 4 years to finish, he said, "I can now start to live like a human being." There's jewels in the walls of this. The gold-plated walls during orgies and feasts, etc., would sometimes just like move aside, and rose petals would come out of the walls. Perfume would be shot out of the walls.
This place is everything.
There was a room that you would feast in where the floor was slowly rotating the whole time
Oh, I've been in those.
via water canals underneath.
Yeah.
Neat.
I mean, it's
Willy Wonka shit.
it's fucking insanity.
Licking the walls. It's schnozberries. Tastes like schnozberries.
Yeah, I mean,
Great glass elevator. Whole nine.
he did have a big orgy, which I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Me too.
A couple of Jameses in there.
So yeah, the rose petals and the perfume from the walls. There's a 8'2" story where somebody's got suffocated by rose petals. There's no way that happened.
An 8'2" story.
An 8'2" story. You like that? You like that?
Yeah, I do. I could see somebody being suffocated. I mean,
And there was
it's my fetish.
it's precious stones in the walls. In the walls.
Well, yeah, you got to put it somewhere.
Soul stone, space stone, you name it. They got
at this feast,
So name it.
there would be bowls left out for you to puke it up, so you can start eating again.
Yeah, it's
right.
that Hunger Games
Oh,
shit.
puke bowls. That's smart.
Yeah,
And then some other fucking freak would come in and lick it up because they're into that. You know?
and there was like no fucking bathrooms. Like Nero didn't even live here. He lived elsewhere. Like this was just a pleasure
yeah,
place.
this
I mean, I think Versailles didn't have. They would pee in the corner all the time.
Yeah, it smelled like piss.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like the penthouse. You can pee on the floor there.
Well, there's baths. People are probably doing a lot of
And dumping.
ones and twos in the baths, which are I believe there was an aqueduct system underneath with for heating and shit like that.
Well, they probably had to save all that good piss to do their laundry or cure their baldness
exactly,
or whatever. Like,
Right? Yeah.
we're gonna flush it down the toilet.
Nah,
it's
this is
liquid gold, my friend.
it's machine created detergent.
Hello.
And at the end, so at the orgy where he married Pythagoras was so long. It started with him giving everybody in the city a piece of gold and saying,
I've heard about this.
"You must spend it on pleasure." And then starts this
Stimulus.
yeah,
That's fun.
and all the prostitutes are lined up by their age,
That's not fun.
No,
gender,
it's very good.
and their specialties.
Oh, that's
Do
neat.
you have any lists of specialties?
The specialties were not
you have a list of genders?
expounded upon.
'Cause there's like 1,000, right?
I do know that. Everybody knows that.
Duh. Wake up.
That's how fluid works.
Oh.
And so yeah, it was just he would just spend on all this shit. But the thing was that they weren't hyper exclusive. Like again, like he was a populist. Like after the fire, he let the people that were homeless into his palace, which is before this thing is built.
So you could fuck them.
And he went into his own pocket for the food to feed the people after the fire. So like the whole thing of fiddling while Rome burned is really more about how
It's a metaphor.
for the whole Roman Empire, not just Nero.
Of course.
And it is that they thought it was silly that he was an actor and a musician and a poet and all that stuff, and that's really what he kind of wanted to be and was allowed to be simply because he was Caesar.
Well, and they'll say the same thing about Trump in the future too. I mean, he literally is not fiddling, but he's twiddling his thumbs, right?
For sure.
Like, so it certainly doesn't make sense that he was literally playing a fucking fiddle on a.
Yeah, I mean, and he
tinderbox,
could have
but-
been. He could have been at his vacation home.
More
fiddling,
likely, he was diddling.
But but yeah, and
Men, women, horses, whatever.
He when he had all the prostitutes arrive, That would be after in the Doma Aurea. That would be after he played the fucking lyre for hours, and then everybody had to listen to his poetry after that.
Right. You have to.
This guy created a lot of stuff.
So then he says,
Listen to my podcast.
he says, the sun is setting. Come see how I light my garden. And it's all Christians in tar.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty fucking hardcore. And yeah.
I like to take walks at night, but unfortunately,
And that's the thing is that, he for whatever reason, he just made them the scapegoat because they were already weirdos to the common Roman.
Yeah, he could. It was easy.
Yeah,
exactly. And he wasn't there when it happened. It just didn't look hot politically for him, right? And at the end of some of these, he would get put in a cage and dress in animal skins, and then he would be unleashed to a captive Christian and gnaw their genitals off, and then he would have them killed.
So he would.
that was his thing, huh?
That was his thing.
He would
Now,
like, let's
when you say gnaw their genitals off, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he was gnawing guys' dicks and balls off.
Yeah.
Not. I mean, it's really hard to gnaw a tiny little clit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that theatrical. I mean, anybody can gnaw a clit off.
Sure.
I'll gnaw a clit off. I've been known to gnaw a clit off, with or without a cage.
Right. With or without skins.
I'm not a Caesar.
Yeah, for sure.
Not even a grabber. Now wait. So if I went to
When you're a star, they let you do it.
So in theory, someone could go back to wherever they lived, and they could say, "Tonight I saw Nero dress up like a leopard,
Yeah.
and then chew a man's dick and balls off."
Yeah.
And
But he liked being the center of attention.
No shit.
Yeah, like
weird.
he was
an actor.
He was
He was an emperor.
he was a major ham.
He was an emperor.
He was a major ham.
Was he a guy?
But I mean, sure, I know what you're saying, but Caligula wasn't like, look at me, look, I have a poem.
Right.
You
So
know,
look at my
I
horse.
think, with positions like that, when they are around for so much time, they start to carry like the weight of their own. I don't want to say prestige, but they start to become a thing, and they start to become an archetype. And when that position is now an archetype of attention, it becomes something else entirely.
Yeah. Sure.
How long does a president have to exist before it becomes a king?
sure.
Right. I mean,
And how long does a king have to exist before it becomes a god?
And his feeling of emperor was perhaps attention and not good works.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was one of these things where he was told you're fucking Caesar now.
Right.
Clearly, he didn't want to. You know what I mean? But he did have some kind of like desire to be liked by the people.
But even then,
That's why he was
that's
populist.
called into question. Why would he do? Did he do the things that made people like him because he wanted the attention of doing them?
Yes.
Yes, for sure, without question.
It's not altruism.
Right. So yeah.
But also, if you've never gone without,
right.
you don't ever think you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of his Reconstruction stuff, like I said, he went into his own pocket and he devalued the currency for the first time ever.
Well, I mean, his own.
Because he flooded the market he flooded it with so much coin.
Because he needed money for the Reconstruction so bad after the fire, and he had already, pushed through all these public works, all these new stadiums and stuff like that. So he would like take down the percentage of silver in the coins. And the actual weight of money, it literally decreased.
Right, we're gonna put some shit in the mix.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time ever, right?
But even then, like his own money, or was that money that he had pilfered from the state?
Well, yeah.
Well, either way, state money.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing what they do with quantitative easing now, which is like, we're going to inject $500 billion in the market.
Right.
Well, where does that come from?
But
It's
also,
just,
it's
a value issue.
when you would get rid of enemies, you would get their shit, right? So he had gotten rid of quite a few enemies, and then his mom's money, whatever, Octavia's
Right,
money,
so
all
it's
that
just-
shit, right? And so there's there's graffiti in Pompeii that they discovered that says Poison is Nero's like treasury secretary.
Yeah. Dude, the graffiti in
so
Pompeii is
fucking
dope.
cool?
Yeah,
There's
if
a
you wanna-
lot of graffiti in Pompeii.
If you want to hear more about the graffiti in Pompeii, just hop on the Patreon.
Yeah.
And you can hear the episode where we read some of it.
Yeah. That made me think.
There's the one, haha, I fuck men now.
Yes, that's what
Dude, so much. I saw that on
like it.
Lava's hot and dick is good. That was another thing that popped up on Reddit again recently was I've forsaken men or forsaken women and now I love penis or whatever.
Yeah.
So many of the Prius profiles keep popping up on the internet.
Well, yeah, the thing of the historical graffiti is the writing on the wall, right?
Well, and you got to read the writing on the wall.
Yeah, and it's
And now, when you get to the B side, you're behind your own wall.
Then we get to the B side, and he's doing comfortably alone. He's not even there anymore. Totally gone behind his own wall.
There it is. That's it. Thank you, John.
Got it, buddy. That is from the State and also the 10. That is Ben Garant. So there's a lot of this shit where you think, is it the devaluing the currency? Is it the higher taxes for the aristocracy? Is that why there's, don't get me wrong, he's totally a piece of shit, I'm sure. If he did any of these things that I'm saying, he's a piece of shit, for sure. And he's a spoiled rich kid. I'm sure he did it. But, was there kind of a lot more shit talking by historians because
nuance.
they were of the aristocracy?
Yeah.
And he was doing a lot of things that were... I mean, there's not a lot of stories about people going out and giving everybody a piece of gold in the city.
Right. There's levels of gray.
Yeah, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, but there's truth to every lie and a lie to every truth, right? So
Sure.
some of this stuff definitely happened,
Yeah.
and some of it maybe didn't.
So there's
The caging, the cosplay cage cock chomping.
That's all I care about.
is very interesting, and it's almost too weird to make up.
yeah.
But maybe maybe we don't have the context to know that like that was a real big insult at the time.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
calling somebody a cocksucker now is like calling him a caged leopard cock chomper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was like a mad dig at the time.
Yeah, there's
but it sounds like he probably loved putting his mouth around cock, so that blood would come out, and if they were a Christian, that helped too. I mean, listen, I'm no stranger to testicular smithereening.
Well, I mean, but I mean, I'm sure he was probably a really good wife to Pythagoras.
I bet the best wife.
Yeah.
Jesus,
So that palace, when it's
the 100-acre fuck shit.
what they do with the colossal statue of Nero in the future is they will turn it into the god Sol, the solar god, because they're going to rewrite everything about Nero, right?
Right. And I mean, what is an emperor but just a...
And then eventually that thing, they're embarrassed of that palace and they'll empty it out of all its shit, but then they will build the Colosseum there, right where the man-made lake was, in like the center of it.
Which they would then, as the story goes, they would then flood to make a man-made lake in the Colosseum.
Yes.
Right, yeah,
Which is
yeah.
kind of dubious, apparently. I've heard.
It could be reflooded, and
stage ship battles is what they said. But I don't know
and
if that's true.
there's parts of this that are still preserved of the Doma Aurea, and Michelangelo would go there and see the paintings of old. When they discovered, because somebody fell in it one day. They were walking along like a hill. It had been buried and covered. And
That's the thing about Rome is that Rome is like now 100 feet higher in some places than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because they would just build on top of it.
Civilization on top of civilization.
Crazy.
That's what always happens. It's
Yeah.
But especially there, like
layers.
it's
on layers.
it's just layers on, because it's one of the oldest city states.
So and there was things mosaics would only be on the ground. They were on the walls. There was architectural themes that would continue throughout high society were all started in this thing, and he had a huge hand in the design of it. So that's part of his legacy too. So
Do you think that like if you live, I've been in Rome, okay. But you think if you live by the Colosseum in Rome, it's as bad as living by the Colosseum in LA?
No, it's no, it's different. I mean, because there's
it sucks.
Yeah, I think they both suck.
No,
Yeah,
but
there's a bunch of fucking tourists walking around.
They're all loud and liquored up.
Oh god!
But the Coliseum in
white,
LA, like,
they're all
I mean,
white.
what is around? How do you get there unless you drive yourself, right?
What do you mean?
Like the Coliseum in LA. Like,
Oh well, you could take the fucking red line
yeah,
or the purple or whatever it is, purple line.
yeah.
You can get down there. Exposition Park, all that shit. It's all down there.
Well, I mean, I was.
And
only,
also, if it's a fucking Saturday when there's not a virus going around, it's a fucking nightmare. It's
right,
bad.
but also you go to the Coliseum in LA. It's like you walk around.
Well, don't get me started with the Forum.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, well, this is not the forum.
I
for
would
that.
say, other than the insane amount of cats
Cats.
in Rome
Oh,
around the Coliseum, I think I'd rather be around the Roman Coliseum.
yeah, no, I would, but I mean, living there,
Yeah, well, it's
a whole other
it's-
scenario.
yeah, it's probably
like living in Hollywood and Highland. No.
So I didn't say Popea had one child with him, and it was her. She was pregnant with his second child when he supposedly
killed
kicked her
her.
to death. And there's no witness to it, so you don't know if it's more dragging Nero through the mud.
right.
It's just like he started the fire. You know, he killed his mom, he killed his brother, he killed his sister that was also his wife. You know, he killed.
He was an
and
unstable
it was
maniac.
Also, like this man, these
deal, man.
people are not, and neither are we, far removed from fucking savages. Rome
No,
was
yeah.
a shining city on the hill in an otherwise dark age.
Talking about a beacon.
That's right. That's exactly right. Like, do you understand? Like, people are crazy now. People do that now.
Yeah, and you know the.
I wouldn't put it. I mean, could it be slander? Could it be historical slander, or you know, whatever you want to call it? Yeah, but it also could be that this guy was a fucking maniac because
It could be. It could be.
because people are often maniacs,
Right, but-
especially back then.
But the general theme of humanity has been a majority non-maniac.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It's
For
just
sure.
it's-
Most people are not.
wait.
Most people are not maniacs.
Yes. I mean, it's easily perpetuated the idea
But
that you
listen,
have to
this
be
was
an
a
insane,
time that,
macho man to succeed. You
Right,
do
but
not.
also there was, as there had been very recently here, but
Thank you.
state-sponsored slavery,
Right.
yeah.
which also very recent here, but back then even more so.
Sure.
So it's not a stretch to I think it's very hard to over exaggerate the horrors that man will exert upon man or woman.
Without question, sure.
Right?
Yes.
And the further back
Sure.
you go in what we call civilization, I think it's easier to accept those things. Once you get, especially when civilization is new, I think hunter-gatherer people, it's a lot. There's probably less of that kind of weirdness.
I completely agree. All I'm saying is that there's also
This kind of power was very new for human beings at the time.
There's like a fear, I guess, I have of being like there's a more sinister thing in the narrative, and what does that narrative serve in the following, like the Flavian sort of
Right. So I
history
think
that's going to happen.
So what you're saying is that, maybe I'm asking, is what you're saying that because of some of his, because of his lack of pedigree and his more populist leanings, that he was perhaps painted worse in the histories?
Well, there's no question that he fucked up because the dynasty ends.
Right.
But it's like one of those things where, you know, you see like Littlefinger being like, oh, yes, he was a traitor. He was always a traitor. Mm-hmm. This kind of lackey thing.
Right.
And you know, like the Grand Maester being like, hey, he was terrible, awful, you know, that type of shit. And
He was a loser.
and you're going,
he was a maniac.
And you're going like, okay, well, you're telling this crew what they want to hear.
Right.
So there's just the worry that you're losing.
But who wants to hear that?
Well,
In
the
term- with
new
Nero.
guard. The new guard.
Right, but they didn't say it about other people, right? Like, do you feel me? Like, what was it about him that would have caused? And not that I have an opinion one or another. I'm genuinely curious. what was it about him that there would be this historical revisionism about him?
I guess.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
It might serve a purpose, right?
and my question is,
against populism is
but
one
was
word.
he that good to the population by giving? What did he give? Dollar coins, or did he give?
Well,
them
there was a
gold
lot of
coin?
public works. There was a lot more stadiums. There was a lot more things for the people.
So let's say he was like an FDR, but he butt fucked all sorts of people and ate their dicks.
Yeah.
So FDR.
Still FDR.
Yeah.
Even though he's still FDR, is still well regarded now.
Sure.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So that's the thing is that
even despite there being an attempted coup and murders against FDR at the time, right? And
almost accidental murders that we covered.
And now, if a president tried to enact many of those things, they'd be labeled a socialist or a communist, right? So there isn't that historical revisionism against FDR. Maybe it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, but do you understand what I mean? Like,
yeah, but it's again,
was he that much of a threat to the aristocracy of Rome that they painted his history in a negative light, or was he a monster, or was it somewhere in between?
Right, or I mean, the one thing you can say about Rome is that it is an incredibly advanced civilization
for the time, without a doubt.
And part of that was having very dutiful historical record and
copying what worked before.
And they did a lot of good with that, but it's still coming down to a couple of guys. Basically, the history is basically down to a couple of guys, and so now we live in an era where. Everyone,
you mean literally the histories, the written history is
now everyone.
The record is down. Now everyone's a blog. There were two bloggers.
Well, especially what survived. There wasn't paper.
Well,
there
exactly.
was.
But now everyone's a historian.
Exactly.
So in history in general, you have to question the source.
Right.
There were probably plenty of accounts if there were boat battles in the Colosseum, there could have been thousands of accounts.
Right.
But also probably not. Nobody could read or write.
No. There would have been enough people to have more than one account.
More than one is not 1,000.
But still, I mean, but what survives?
Yes,
and that's
how much gets washed away in the sands of time.
It's just one of those things where it's like when 5 people say it, you go, okay, that probably happened.
And that 6th person may not believe it, but if 5 people are saying they're in
3 out of 4 dentists say that Crest Complete is...
Well, like
50
with,
Helens agree.
With Seneca and Boris, like they didn't want anything to do with killing his mom, but they know it was going down. And they didn't stop it, but they didn't support it. So we all know he did that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
In the case of, kicking his pregnant wife to death, he puts out such a show of a massive funeral, huge mourning. There's just like divine honors, temple for her cult.
Yeah, and it was like, how did she die again? And he's the only witness.
Incense is imported, and so it might have been just another thing they threw in.
Right.
In 67, Nero marries Sporus, like spore, like seed, a young boy who is said to have greatly resembled Poppaea.
Oh, because he was such a twink.
Yeah.
Hot.
So Nero...
and doesn't have the burden of getting pregnant.
Nero cuts off all his junk.
Makes him a eunuch. Wait, he cuts off Sporus' junk.
Basically trying to make him a woman.
Right.
And...
boy.
Now,
did he do it with his teeth? Jumping out of a cage?
I don't believe so.
Do you know anything about Sporus? Like, was his family like, oh, great, this will be our way in?
Yeah, Sporus... We'll do some Sporus.
Do you think that Sporus would have made a hot chick? Based on the carvings that you've seen?
I would say so.
Like, if you were in a steam room, would you get tricked?
I would.
Damn it,
is that my wife?
And I like.
And
I kicked you to death years ago.
They had steam rooms.
They did have steam rooms, Aaron. That's a very good point. Turns out he's a chap, but here's the twist. I like it. So he tried to make a woman out of him.
We'll make a woman out of you yet, boy.
And so he makes him get dressed up as an empress.
Oh god.
Puts a veil on him during the wedding ceremony. All this stuff. And it's believed he did this out of regret for killing his wife, allegedly.
Or he's just a freak, a pervert type of guy.
Yes.
Or both. Fuck it.
A little bit of both. You know, when you have power, man, you're going to push those boundaries.
The idea that you can get, like, no one should ever get whatever they want, because that just, there's it.
Not so long as other people are like, these people treated people like we are going to treat fuck robots.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, he
treats objects like women.
When he says, the funniest thing is reading this thing over and over again, freedmen. It's like, they're not.
Yeah.
Now that they've married him, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're worse than you ever were.
Yeah. This most dangerous position you can in
you'll
slavery.
no longer be a slave. You're now a freed woman. It's like, aren't I married to you?
Well, that just having the name Freedman or Freeman or whatever is still a scarlet letter. It's still saying like, oh, well, ex-slave.
Yeah.
And then you
If
still,
you're not
then you're just like, well, slave.
Yeah.
So do you even think that maybe that was a populist move?
What?
To have the commoner wife?
Yeah, it could have been.
I mean, listen,
notes
man,
of Diana?
you know what those street girls do.
Yeah, street stuff.
Nasty street stuff. So
I mean,
and
you
also
know,
he was rebelling
an
against. He
actor,
was rebelling, and so there's so much
he was
more
getting into
involved
that,
than just politics, especially if you're 16.
Yeah.
If you're 16,
And
you
again, like we talked about
Aladdin.
in the Princess Charlotte episode.
don't Princess Jasmine.
Yeah. He was Princess Jasmine.
With the Princess Charlotte episode,
No.
we talked about the royals,
Yes.
wanting to be commoners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
he's
mean,
doing that. He's going out. He's doing street crime.
and other emperors have done that before, or popes have done
I mean,
that.
poor people would love to know what it's like to be rich. So why wouldn't rich people like to know?
I
what
know.
And it's the same thing with in Christian mythology is God hiding himself in a man.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
What if he was one of
Greek
us?
and-
Exactly. What if God was one of us?
Oh, there he is. Oh no, that's just
a
the
tale
poster.
as old as time, a song as old as rhyme, my
Yes.
friend.
Hey, nice dude.
Now here's where we got the downfall. In March of '68,
I love how it's just 68. It's not like 1968.
It was the summer of '68.
I don't know what
else.
happened. It was the '60s, man. I don't remember.
Crazy shit.
Those crazy Gauls, those French lunatics.
Yeah, what's up with them? I thought they were German.
They rebel against the tax policies. So
Yeah,
again,
no,
it comes back
they
to the
can't.
money.
They just
And the governor of Germania Superior, he is ordered to put down the rebellion, and Vindex is the governor of the Gauls, and
it's a cool name.
use
Gallia Lugdunensis.
Yeah, you nailed it.
That's the region that's rebelling, and so I mean I think that's kind of funny too. Imagine you're the Roman emperor and you go like, you German guy, you take care of that French shit, right?
Wait,
The good leaders delegate.
Sure.
I'm trying to picture the map here. So
Germany's next to France.
Yeah,
It's never changed.
Well, also those lines were not drawn for a while, but
yeah.
in general, those.
If I'm telling you Germania Superior and the Gauls,
No, I get it.
No,
but
but Charles
it's not
de Gaulle?
it's not
Germania,
it's not the same
French
borders
Gaul.
as now,
Of
but
course.
and
Sure.
they fluctuated, but
Yeah.
they're closer to each other than they are to Italy.
Right.
sure,
So it makes sense. Like, you take care of that.
right.
right.
So Vindex,
Streak free. No ammonia.
That crazy Frenchman. He calls upon Servius Sulpicius Galba, the governor of Hispania,
What?
Tarraconensis.
Oh, dude, I have telekinesis. I can move. I can move the world.
Tarraconensis.
I could use I can move the world with my mind. I have telekinesis.
Yeah, I got.
I'm that kind of mutant.
I think I got some telekinesis myself.
And my friend Vindex, he can wipe windows with no streaks.
Hey, Joe. You have telekinesis?
You got a dirty mind.
Oh,
you like that?
No, I like mine better, but
you don't.
No, it's all right.
So
Maybe if
anyway,
you use of-
these crazy fucking Hispaniards join the crazy ass Frenchmen, and
Well, that's a lot.
and he convinces them to join, and also he declares himself emperor in opposition to Nero.
Smart move.
The Vindex guy?
Vindex does,
Nice. He had clear vision.
and Vindex is fucking routed in May, and he commits suicide.
No.
Sorry, Vindex.
But the legions attempt to make their own commander emperor, and their new leader won't act against Nero, and but the Germans aren't happy either, and Spain isn't happy either. So it's not looking too hot for Nero, right? Politically.
And now this is 70. What year?
No, this is still 68.
68. So
And-
we got a few years before it all comes crumbling down. You can kind of see how this grip on the empire is loosening.
The outside forces are.
Right.
Yes, and this is Galba is the one now kind of leading the charge against Nero's Rome, and he's declared a public enemy, of course. But the prefect of the Praetorian Guard, he allies himself with Galba, and Nero runs away.
Well, I mean, the Praetorian Guard is, what would you say, Secret Service?
Pretty much.
And he allies himself with, the Arizona National Guard.
Yeah, I mean, you've
Right?
had, but you've had the fire. You've had this guy kill his mom.
Right.
You've had him kill his wife, Octavia.
He's doing what? He's reading the writing on the
Wall. Yeah,
Whoa.
very good. Aaron.
What?
Or you could call that graffiti, or
So
Also, animals. Sorry, go ahead.
he's going to flee
Pink Floyd
to
fan,
the
yeah.
eastern provinces. The eastern provinces of the Roman Empire at this time, very pro Nero, and this is part of why I think it's possible there could be some trickery.
let's talk about eastern provinces. By that you mean who?
The Roman Empire, I believe, expands all the way to Syria at this stage.
Okay, so Middle East
and rebels in the
and Turkey probably
in the
Well,
ensuing
Byzantium.
years,
Yeah.
they prophesized a Nero reborn. That's how much they liked him, and rebel leaders would call themselves the new Nero. So that's why it's kind of like the popularity thing is. It's a little
Right.
odd,
Yeah, they were
right?
They were the make Rome great again crowd.
They,
Maybe he the old guard he didn't feed them as well as he did he said, well, here are these people over here. He's bringing something new to them,
right.
and so he's in new influx
Right.
of cash.
It's like how Christianity's strongest in Asia.
right.
That's where all the new priests
Right.
are coming from. It's
Right.
like India, China.
I can't beat this.
It's new shit.
Yeah.
Right? New shit has come to light. And so Nero now has like army officers not heeding his commands. And he goes, well, is it so bad if I die? And
no one said, no, it's fine.
he thinks of going to Parthia, which is the ancient Iranian empire. He thinks about throwing himself to the mercy of Galba so he can live out his life being the prefect of Egypt.
Right, which is what we would just send dictators to South America somewhere and give them a cozy little 100 acres,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. This was all found.
Thanos.
This was all ideas found in his desk later.
In his
That-
desk.
Yeah, that he never actually said out loud, but he was like he didn't say any of this shit because he thought he might be
Being filmed.
torn to pieces before going to where he would surrender
Right.
at the forum.
Hey,
Yeah.
Inglewood, all the way to Inglewood. Wow.
Yeah. So he goes back to Rome and he's in the palace, and he wakes up in the palace
Detroit.
Yeah, Auburn Hills.
at around midnight, and there's no guards. And then he goes to his friends' chambers to get messages out to be like, hey, where the fuck are the guards? They're gone.
28 days later.
Yeah,
And it's just a dream.
Dead
he's
inside.
calling. There's nobody in the palace. He's totally alone.
This is the first time he's been alone in how long?
Yeah,
right?
ever?
His life?
Yeah. And then he calls for a gladiator or
Praetorian!
or any swordsman to come
Russell Crowe.
to kill him.
To kill him.
To kill him. And then he's alleged to have said, have I neither friend nor foe?
What a nightmare.
And
I mean, that's a great
It's
trick.
worse.
That's a great trick to pull on someone.
I like that.
Yeah.
Time enough at last.
they totally abandoned him.
I love that.
Yeah.
That
It
is
is
great.
really, it's poignant.
Yeah.
eerie moment.
Yeah. There's not even someone here
and
to
it's
kill
such
you.
a stark contrast from his everyday life up until that point. So
Yeah.
it's totally alien
Right.
and scary.
Yeah.
And so
You're a
he
loser.
You leave me alone. You do that to me, I got like 3 days before I start freaking out.
yeah.
Not immediately.
But it's like
I'll try it out for
not
3 days.
only am I alone, but you're not even trying to kill me. Like
Yeah.
the second I'm alone, it's
I'm not
just-
even worth being killed. Like I'm
Yeah.
not worth being around, and I'm not worth being
Does
killed. This
no
is a
one
nightmare.
Does no one even think of me anymore?
Then nobody even
Yeah.
thinks to kill me.
Yeah.
That's worse than being irrelevant.
just the uncertainty of where power lies is also just terrifying.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't fight. There's
For
nothing.
him and everyone. And that's going to play out after his death, is the ensuing years are just going to be, okay, that dynasty is ended. Now there's, a huge grab for power. So he goes to a freedman's house. And everybody who comes with him, they're all freedmen. There's every
So he's playing the role of a commoner again.
dude, he's in disguise, traveling 4 miles outside the city. And they go to this villa, and he tells these guys to dig a grave for him.
I'll suck your cocks.
One of them is Sporus.
I'm a nobody.
Oh, and the cockless wonder
Yeah, and the other ones are just friends.
was seemingly all their cocks.
Yeah, and
Nice.
so
how you know they're
a courier comes with news from the Senate that they're going to declare Nero a public enemy, and they're going to they were going to kill him in what they call the old way, which was beating you to death
Brutus.
with rods.
Oh.
Yeah.
Beating you to death with rods.
There's a certain image to it, I guess. I don't know.
And they were going to have it done in the Roman Forum.
Oh yeah,
and
of course.
there was men that were supposed to come and get it. I don't know if this courier was somebody that was playing him, or it was just gossip.
All the
but
words
the
of
Senate
stage.
hadn't actually finally decided. They were entertaining the idea of having Nero come do some kind of transfer of power.
Yeah, he dies, and
Because the senators are like, yeah, fucking Caesar, Claudius, like, that is who we've been loyal to for years. And a lot of us are intertwined with that dynasty. And at the very least, some of us are loyal to Nero himself. So they basically said, we can let him come back as long as he just pushes an air
Right.
and gets out of the fucking way.
no rods.
So Nero,
Which is the smart political thing to do, because that doesn't upturn the empire.
there's no war, etc. It's very smart. And
A transition of power.
Yes, the peaceful transition of power keeps the republic
Then you can
legitimate.
really rot
Whether it's
someone
legitimate or not,
afterwards, yeah.
it makes it have the
How cool would it have been if when Nixon left, everybody hit him with rods?
dude.
That would've
dude,
been
yeah,
something.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh god. I'm gonna fucking buzz. How cool if they did it? Oh, I don't want the Secret Service to listen, but
So once he hears this news from this courier, he gets ready for suicide, and he's saying shit like, "Man, I'm dying like such an artist." He's such a fucking dickhead.
Wow, look at me being a real artist.
He's a real coward, so he can't kill himself.
No seppuku.
He begs one of his friends to
Suck his dick.
to kill themselves.
Will you do it for me?
Show me how to die.
No, not kill him.
No,
kill
I know,
them.
I know.
yeah.
You do it, and it'll
Show me.
It'll
trade
inspire
clothes.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you do?
Cut your dick off.
That's such a fucking 9-year-old thing.
Yeah.
So he hears horses, and
I hear horses.
and he
is
forces his
Horses?
private secretary to kill him because he still can't do it.
Yeah, that's
How does he do it?
That's why secretary is the most powerful person.
I believe he stabbed him because when the guys came in, they tried to stop the bleeding and save his life. And Nero's final words were, "Too late. This is fidelity." And
What an
he,
actor.
He died on the 9th of June, 68, which was the anniversary of the death of Octavia.
What a whore.
No, she was the.
No, I mean Nero.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's milking.
And yeah, so it's not really known whether, he did take his life or, it was suicide, whatever. And when news gets to Rome that he's dead, they declare him a public enemy because Galba's coming in. So again, it's the lackey shit. That's what I'm saying. And I wonder if to curry favor, maybe they didn't shout some of these things louder than ever. Is
Yeah.
all.
But it also doesn't mean they're not true.
Yeah, and also he's dead.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so there would be the year of the 4 emperors following, just total chaos and war. And, people, it's hard to say whether, which class was celebrating and which one was mourning. But like I said, in those eastern provinces, they would tell of a Nero reborn. But then, they were embarrassed by his excesses with the Domus Aurea, and they would dismantle that. So now, Sporus, right, who was turned into a woman,
A eunuch.
He would call her Poppaea and stuff.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he would say her name.
Did he identify post that as a woman? I mean, I know we're putting all sorts of
I don't know.
contemporary.
Pythagoras,
pronouns
like
on
I
it,
said, was probably not his name and given to him.
Right.
Sporus was definitely given to him.
And then Poppaea was given to him.
It was probably Jeff.
Yeah, very good, Matt.
Give me your cock, Scott.
So,
Poppaea.
Poppaea.
So,
Hot eunuch tricked in steam room. So hot.
So he was Nero's wife, and he was one of the few freedmen with Nero that dug his grave, and was with him to his last moments. And he was said to be gentle and sweet and kind, and Nero was also he was said to have raped a Vestal virgin.
No.
Everybody says this dude looked just like his ex-wife.
This dude? Oh, you mean
Sporus.
Sporus Poppaea,
Yeah.
not the Vestal Virgin who was a woman.
No, yes.
Two separate.
So one of the things that they said was an omen of the coming downfall of Nero was Sporus presented him with a ring that had a gem in it, which depicted the rape of Proserpina. Proserpina is how it's spelled.
You can put that in a ring?
Well, it's a big ring.
Yeah, I guess so. Jesus Christ.
In which the ruler of the underworld in Greek mythology
Yes.
forces a young girl to become his bride.
Right.
Also
known, I think it was also called Persephone. Was another way to say.
Okay.
Is that the one where she? It's seasonal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why there's
Persephone.
fall and winter is when
Yes.
she's in the
It's
underworld. Her mother makes a deal to have her half of the year,
Yes.
and the other half of the year she's down there in Hades.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, classic divorcee.
I thought you were going to say Devo for a second.
But no, it is. It's the origin of the seasons in mythology.
I think that her mother was Ceres. Cereal is what that comes from. And Persephone.
Series.
Man, for idiots, we're really close to just getting
We're really
it all-
close, dude. But it's
We're really stupid, but we know some shit.
yeah. I think that, another name for is Persephone.
Persephone, yeah.
So it was supposed to be a bad omen for Nero to get this, right?
Yeah, that would make sense.
And so when he began, the fucking bullshit lamentations before taking his own life, he was talking to Sporus specifically. And the Praetorian prefect Nymphidius Sabinus, he was taken to him after Nero's death, and
Sporus was taken to this
the Praetorian prefect.
after Nero.
correct,
Got it.
and Nymphidius treated Sporus as a wife
Well, he was hot. He was hot.
and called him Poppaea.
Stolen goods.
Listen, man.
This continues
God, poor guy.
after Nero.
Yeah.
Still calling him Poppaea. And Nymphidius tried to become Caesar himself, and he was killed by his own guardsmen.
But
But he was still laying the pipe into Poppaea.
Poppaea
Sporus.
is still alive.
Now, do you remember who Poppaea was married to when the affair started with Nero?
No.
No.
Beetlejuice.
What?
Otho.
Oh yeah, Otho. She was married to Beetlejuice? She was married to Otho. Got it. Otho would go on to be emperor after.
Otho would go on to be emperor after.
Holy shit.
In the year 69.
Fucking A, dude.
Sporus became involved with Otho, who was
As-
married to Poppaea.
So there's two.
Dude,
He works his way into first lady status after.
Twice?
uh,
Wait, so Sporus is...
Dude,
this is
listen, man.
profile. So
I hope we all find our own Sporus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
if-
our own seed.
yeah, and if it's fucking hot, like your ex-girlfriend
I mean,
or whatever.
He was the second of the 4 emperors in the year that followed.
And Sporus was the second of Poppaea to a third.
Yeah.
Dude.
It was the second Sporus was the first Sporus.
Oh my god!
what in the fuck?
You know what? You look enough like her. It worked for the previous guy. It's gonna work for me. So get over here. Let me butt fuck you.
Man, whoever was the janitors in those places, you know.
So
just
Nero
cleaning
forces
every day.
Otho to divorce Poppaea, kicks Poppaea to death, feels bad about it, marries this dude that looks just like Poppaea,
Cuts his dick off.
cut dick and balls.
and balls.
And that was also, you could have eunuchs brought into Rome. You could not make anybody a eunuch unless you were Caesar. So that was also another...
the eunuchs came from the outside provinces, outside of the city limits.
they could come in. But
you couldn't make a Roman citizen.
No.
There's no Roman eunuch.
It was another thing that was frowned upon that Nero did and got away with because he was... So Otho's reign is 3 months.
Yeah.
And
Everybody has their moment.
there's a battle. He commits suicide. His victorious rival is Vitellius, and he's intending to have him die in a gladiator show.
Sporus.
No,
Yes,
no.
Sporus.
He wants.
Vitellius is going to use him,
He's going to use Poppaea Sporus,
Sporus.
but then he gets a taste of that ass.
And do you know how he's going to die in the reenactment?
I don't want to know.
Don't say fuck to
Kicked
death.
to death.
He's going to be killed in a reenactment of
Poppaea's death.
the rape of Proserpina.
Oh, will you take her underground?
He's going to die during a reenactment
Man, the
of that fucking myth
the
that
writers'
he put on
rooms.
a ring for Nero.
The writer rooms back then are just
Dude, what
they were
the
toxic.
fuck?
They're still toxic now.
They
Just
are.
imagine it back then.
It was a whole.
He gets out of that by committing suicide.
Oh, good.
They don't think he had made it to 20 years of age.
Sporus?
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
Well, because after that, you know, trying to look like a chick is really hard.
And
He wasn't even 20.
Holy shit!
that's some Nero
What
shit.
a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So, you know, anybody that talks about they have their life was hard. You weren't abducted at 14 because you looked like some king's ex-wife that he
Right.
killed
Yeah.
while she was pregnant. Then they chop your dick off. Then they use you as a cum dumpster. And then you're passed around to 2 other fucking wannabe emperors. And then you're killed in a Civil War reenactment.
Yeah, and
Your
like-
life's not that hard to wear a mask. To go to fucking Walmart.
Yeah.
If you want, we can trade places.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please. What a
Christ.
fucking nightmare.
Sport. Wow.
Yeah.
And also, here's the other thing. There are plenty of other regular ass women who that was their regular life.
Yeah, that's true.
Back
That's
then.
true. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, it's so crazy just to think about, you know,
Poppaea was kicked to death, pregnant, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
And it was
didn't
it was
matter.
just the thing.
Yeah.
Well, and like, you know, I was
So
saying,
wear a fucking mask.
so he is 37 to 68.
He was 37 years old in 68.
No. His reign.
37
Was
to
37
37
to
to
68.
31 years.
And that's the thing is that, you know, I was doing Nero
Do you know?
and I just got the Spores thing and I was like, what the fuck,
That's-
man? Like, it was,
it kicks it up a notch.
hey,
John.
dude, what?
Interesting phrasing, but
It's, the Otho thing just got me so, I was like, no, fuck it. But then also you got to think, I mean, these are famous people. Otho knows about Poppaea. He knows about, you know, the huge
Yeah.
grief. You know, that's
It was.
He makes a show of everything,
Right.
And then at least through gossip, if you're a muckety muck back then, that he's got this dude that looks just like Papaya. I mean, it's uncanny.
And it's also it's signaling to the population at large, like this is the new sheriff in town. Like they know what they're doing by putting on those shows. It's it's listen. This is how it works. This is how you play the game, and don't fuck with me type of thing. Like it's definitely sending a message to the people watching. More importantly, do you think? Well, there's no way they called it 69ing back then, because they didn't use Arabic numerals like we use. They used Roman numerals. So 69 is like LXVIII.
Yeah, I've done that.
But that's just one, that doesn't look like 69. What did they call it?
That doesn't look like 69 to me.
No, what did they call it?
It'd be VI.
No.
No, they call it head to toe.
It's LXVIII.
It's probably head to toe.
No. It's IX.
Is
9.
You're right. You're right about that.
Of course I'm right, Aaron.
You overthink that it has nothing to do with numbers back then.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
And so they called. So get off of
they
the
called
numbers.
it Pisces.
It was
a Pisces symbol.
It was
Nice.
probably
The two fishies like that.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm rising here.
It's the
raising.
yin and the yang.
Oh,
Even then,
nice.
It's not.
It's not.
It could
it's not
be.
yang for sure.
No, it's not yin. No, it's not the yin yang twins. But yeah, no, I think you're right. The 69 is it is L
It's spores diplopia.
X I X.
Right.
That's 69.
Yeah, it's really hard to know what's going on.
Well, who's the X?
Well,
who's
when
the
you're-
I?
when
Who
you're
the
in
fuck is this
there.
L character? I don't know.
That's not always
But what
easy
did you
stuff,
think they called it? The beast with
69ing?
two backs or something?
Beast of two backs. I mean,
You
that's
sucky,
probably the
fuck,
best.
I sucky, you suck.
No, it's just it's just a flip.
No, just a flip.
Didn't you have the thing about James Brown didn't know about doggy style?
No,
What's a man's world?
Did you have that?
No.
That might be a ratty thing.
Yeah, sounds totally
I don't
legit,
trust
too.
the kid.
Yeah.
John, I like this story a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that like I don't feel like I know enough about Roman history, and it's so pivotal and
There's a lot
inspirational to everybody from fucking Shakespeare to everything. And so it was helpful for me to just dive into this one person who I just heard about the orgy stuff from, and I was like, all right, well, I can always throw this out for the boys and they'll gobble that shit up because they're sickos.
Yeah.
But
Gobble gobble.
then, along the way, it was a good way to find out about just the climate in Rome, politically,
Especially at that time, the transition in the when it's after the BC,
Yeah, and
That would be the AD.
what do you think?
Well, 7 years later, they fell.
Well, the thing is too is that the plot against him was about returning to the Republic, ending the empire.
Yeah.
And you kind of go like, "Fuck! Well, what if that fucking worked?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Republic was the Greek model.
Mm-hmm.
The thing they copied the Greek model, which was copy of other shit, but they copied the Greek model and then it devolved into an empire,
Yeah.
and it only was a republican name. The Senate was basically lame, just there for show, and the Caesar was the Caesar. And very soon thereafter, it fell apart.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Not a coincidence.
yeah. I mean, it just seems like they were so clever about so many things that how could they not see that putting one?
Well, how do we not see it?
Well,
The executive branch has every term has
let's finish
increased
the
in
thought.
power, right?
Let's finish the thought so that listeners know what we're talking about, because you and I are talking on telekinesis.
Well, that's exactly right.
But what we're saying is, why would you think that putting power in one person is?
Well,
But we
well,
Caligula disavowed the Senate, right? He made his horse a senator. he made all their wives start a brothel.
Is that disavowing, or is that really affirming it that anyone can take that can do
But
it?
it's disparaging them. It's saying he was a loser.
No.
He was a nobody. He's
Well, that horse, you
a
don't know what that
scumbag.
horse was up to. That horse
it's
could have been a
total-
really good horse.
The horse is fine compared to making all of their wives start a brothel.
Well, yes, ideally.
That's, really.
You hope
the more
horse
you
is-
do that, you or as you do that, part of that is
destroying institutions.
and stop and you don't educate the population anymore, so they are happy to abdicate their decision making to a figure.
Well, you
But if the Senate regains power in the case of under Agrippina or the early Nero days, why don't you be like, hey, let's get rid of this fucking Caesar thing, man? This is like, this has not worked out. Like
Because
the glory
the
days
the same reason for the peaceful transfer of power, it's too destabilizing. Is there an argument to be made that is the right thing to do? Of course. The idea of a king or a Caesar or a president is fucking alpha chimp bullshit.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much of a lightning rod for power because you're more likely to give more and more power to that person than you are to take it away. It's too destabilizing to say, let's just get rid of the idea of the Caesar.
But if it's happened to you before, it can happen to you again.
Yeah, or you can be in power of it happening again.
When you give more and more power, well, all of a sudden the power to dissolve that position lies within the position that you seek to dissolve.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
who's going to run an election, win it, and go, you know what? My first order of business is to take away my own power.
I have to imagine there's parallels between some of that and what's happening here in America, where
No.
so many laws were based on, or not even laws, so many rules of governance were based on assumption that someone would not overstep. And so there were nothing was written into law to deal with someone overstepping.
And also interpretation of the law.
Or even habitual line steppers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even then, the structure of power, I mean, were the rich people in Rome upset with this? Or was it the poor people? And so, we have something today where all kinds of stuff happens on a periphery in our government, but the actual rule-making of governance has completely stopped.
Yeah.
Because the Senate doesn't do anything now.
What I'm saying is that I think it's crazy that the Senate, after Caligula, would see the premise established of basically being thrown out as an institution, knowing that it could happen again, and not putting things in place to stop it happening again.
Well,
it's the same exact thing with Nero and his mother being like, okay, well, I know she's fucking killed people that inconvenienced her before. I'm going to kill her first. That's what I think the institution of the Senate should have done with the institution of the Caesar.
It's a short-sighted goal. There are many decisions that are made that say, I'm not going to think beyond the next quarter.
Yeah.
And a lot of those decisions, dealing with that is perhaps someone saying.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is by then, there's a lot of mythology built into the Caesar and stuff like that.
And
there's the glory days of Augustus and all that.
And maybe he's the one to make it all good, make it great.
Yeah.
It's just that it's a pattern that happens. Period. End of story. And it's kind of in our nature to kind of repeat that pattern.
Yeah. And I think also people like, you and I talked about the leader being the lightning rod of whether the people are
praise and blame.
And I think also that the leader likes having the Senate there as another scapegoat too.
Right.
Of course, sure.
And you can always be like, well, look, you fucking elected these people. They don't know what the fuck. They fucked all this up, So I think they kind of both like having each other there to throw some blame at.
Yeah. It's very convenient.
It's a motivational thing, and if you're the Senate and your one motivation is to take out the emperor, well then there's the thing for you.
But it's crazy for me to think that it really the beginning and the end was the tax stuff.
Well, I mean,
that's what started the rebellions with the French against him, and then the Spain joined it. It was like.
I mean, yes and no.
And that was taxes on the aristocracy. He wasn't taxing the poor more.
Well, yeah. What are they going to do?
But also,
where are you going to get any money from that? I mean, we see it even here in America now. The fucking look at the tax rate over the last. Poor people pay a higher percentage of their income in taxes,
of course.
And that has you can watch a graph of that completely flipping over the last 60 years.
Yeah, and you can also plot it against American prosperity.
Yeah,
and those lines cross.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think what you're saying is, or you're hypothesizing is that once they fucked with the aristocracy's money, then shit hit the fan for them. Is what you're saying?
Kind of, yeah.
I think that's. Yeah,
there's a lot of European history that, you know, from that to the fucking Second World War is a lot of rich people that are family related in castles.
Yes,
making decisions where a lot of poor people die.
That's the history of the world.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I think it gets things moving in that direction when it hits the aristocracy in the pocket pretty fast.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know?
And aristocracy, you know, is that position is occupied by different people. That caste is occupied by different people throughout the years. Sometimes it's the church, sometimes it's a military class, sometimes it is a nobleman class, whatever it is. When you fuck with a caste of people who have a disproportionate amount of power, then tables get turned.
Well, it's funny you say caste, because this is a guy growing up in an era where the actor is equal to a prostitute, and he goes, well, I love that.
Yeah.
And he goes, maybe he goes, you know, these underclass really have it figured out. And they're fucking writing songs and all types of...
Well, that's another theme through history, is that upper class people always wish or have a history of wishing that they were the lower class.
Yeah, well, but
it's a fetish.
The best
it's
part,
a fetish.
it's a fetishization.
Yes.
It's wiggers.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You want all the benefits, the perceived benefits that being black has, but you don't want any of the negative truths about being black in America.
Sure.
You want to talk with a black accent. You want to wear the clothes, and you want to seem cool, but you don't want to have to deal with being profiled. You don't want to have to deal with less opportunity, all that stuff. And that's the same thing that rich people have done throughout history.
Yeah. You want to feel what it's like to be attacked in that
or
way.
at least having being unencumbered by your castes or your social classes mores. Like that was very big here and in England. Was fuck, man, these poor people, they're fucking everybody and they're drinking and they don't have to wear this crazy clothes.
I don't have to put on this powdered wig.
That's exactly right. Like powdered wigs are because they had syphilis, but it was kind of that thing where it was like, well, shit, they're dancing and they're fucking and they're singing and they're not.
But so are rich people.
It's different.
But
it is different.
Rich people are supposed to dance. Poor people are never supposed to be happy.
No. Sure. The poor people are having fun.
Yes.
And not all dancing is having fun.
They're trying to forget.
Not all food is having fun. And not all sex is having fun. The people that were in the lower class were unencumbered by the rigid social rules that those upper class had.
Living like there's no tomorrow.
Because there might not be.
Because there might not be. Right.
And that is the fetishization that you've seen throughout history of the upper class and the lower class.
The movie Titanic, yes.
That draw me like one of your French whores, Jack. And I say I'll never let go, but I will.
Yeah.
I'll let go real quick.
I'm dead.
It's my eyes were definitely opened to the entertainer being such a lowly class.
Yeah, especially with Billy Joel.
I had no idea. Like one of the historians said lower than a slave.
That's fucking well. Slaves are useful. The society would not work without slaves.
Sure. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, it's everything about that is horrific.
Yes.
The whole situation, all of that's a nightmare. But you can kind of put yourself in that space and understand that it makes sense.
That is a lot of like what, say, the regional general in Hispania wouldn't be too thrilled about hearing he plays the lyre, or and sometimes he goes on stage and he has a mask of his dead wife, and you're like, what? And like all that weird shit, like you're like, it's totally unbecoming
of a leader, right?
not even a leader, anybody from like the bottom rank of the all the way up, and you go,
he does what?
He does what? And you're like,
Who on earth could he possibly want to pretend to be?
yeah, it's the emperor is the jester to them,
Yeah.
and that's why
And now the jester is the emperor.
yeah, it was,
Oh boy.
yeah, it's
It's yikes.
yeah, but there is so many fucking similarities to Trump. There, it's a guy born in a bubble. He's rich aristocracy from the moment. And
Probably some incest.
cares
stuff.
nothing more than what people think of him.
Probably mentally completely fucked up.
Yeah,
Probably.
There's not like it. I don't want to make an excuse, but you have to go
No,
like.
but there is no excuse.
A
But
populist?
you are putting into context, and
a populist
yeah, but
who fucks everything up.
Trump probably would if his dad died died before, like if he could have been an actor, he probably would have preferred to do that.
if he was prettier.
He still talks about ratings all the time.
He was an actor. He had a hit TV show.
True.
He was in
True.
Home Alone 2,
But
Lost in New York.
When his dad was
He's
alive,
acting
he
like a
was never
president.
allowed to do that.
Ah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Also,
and everything that he concentrates on is image based.
Yeah.
From his name on the buildings to the way he's portrayed in the press briefings.
Well, the way he reacts to it.
He wears makeup. He wears makeup every day.
He's talking
he wears
about
makeup every day.
drinking
He wears makeup every day. He wears makeup every day.
He's talking about drinking with two hands. Like the fact that he even thought to it, he felt like he had to address that.
Yes.
He does.
Is him
Very, very fragile. Fragile little snowflake.
It's just this. It's all the picture.
Yeah.
There's no.
Optics.
It's not audio. It's not. It's all the picture.
Right. Yeah.
It's.
Let's not talk about him anymore.
No.
Well,
let him not darken this.
Let us not sully this fine, upstanding program with this orange maniac.
Well, boys, I hope you enjoyed talking about Nero with
I
me.
did.
that
This was
great.
really great. It's about time.
Yeah. I mean, those fucking Romans are rife, man. We could really rip them a
there's
new
a
one.
lot.
If
Oh,
we,
and they
there's
love
a
it.
lot.
I'll pick one, get Otho bent over.
I mean, what
Leisure
comes to
suit,
mind?
whole nine.
Of the Romans we've talked about before, I can't think of them on the top
Yes.
of my head.
We talked about
other than the
popes.
Pope stuff, yeah.
Yeah, the Decadent Emperors is that
That's a
one
big
book
one.
my buddy Nevin got, where that's the one where they're just doing all the great.
But in
sex
general,
There-
no,
yeah,
we haven't done a bunch. We've done a lot of like the Victorians,
Yeah.
Victorian era, or even like the kind of early 1900s, the United States.
Yeah, I did a lot of podcasts today on Nero, and a lot of them done by women.
Oh, because they like freaks. You know?
One was a little 10-minute podcast done by this kid.
A kid?
Yeah, like a kid, and he like interviews Nero and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Oh my god!
It's him.
And then,
He's Nero.
And then Nero fucks him.
he is.
And they
Cock off and fucks.
they
Jesus
were
Christ. That's a hell of.
They were-
if that kid did that, that's.
it was there
Kudos
was
to that kid.
there was a bunch of really good stuff. But
All right.
Really great, John.
yeah,
John, that was great. Thank you.
About the next episode, this little piece of news I got.
Fuck, I forgot.
We will be joined by the creator of Bill and Ted, Chris Matheson,
Oh, fuck yeah.
via Zoom, which you talked about earlier in the program. He's in Oregon, but he is we had him on the line. We lost him. Got him back today.
That's time travel.
That's time travel 101, baby.
Do you know what that is? Excellent.
Be good to each other.
Be excellent to
Excellent to
each
each
other.
other.
Fuck.
So yeah, that'll be the next episode of Profiles in Eccentricity. We'll be talking to the creator of Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted Face the Music coming up this summer.
Fuck yeah.
Tentatively.
Tentatively. But he has a book coming out about the Buddha that he would also like to talk
Fuck
about.
yeah, let's talk about it.
And you're talking about his father, Richard Matheson.
Yes.
I can't wait for it.
Got him.
So
Has he
I-
seen Endgame?
Has he seen it?
Well,
And
Aaron,
Climax?
I know. At
I
time.
could give him an episode. He could watch.
Save it for next week. Profiles in Eccentricity. Join us. Got a hot scoop.
Tell all your friends about it.
Yeah,
especially
tell everybody.
the next one, because Keanu's going to be here too.
He won't.
I know he won't. He won't. Maybe cardboard cutout.
But yeah, we'll have
Chris Matheson.
other guests coming
that's gonna
too.
be great.
We do have
Very
other.
exciting.
We have big stuff coming.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Yeah, and tell Tom and Christine to have us on. Christina Pashitsky.
Maybe next time get it right, and then maybe they'll come on.
We love you. My name is John Fahey.
I love you too. And my name is Aaron Pita.
Matt Brazo.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Starburns Audio.